War Torn by Matthew Daniel. There was peace until there was not. Within the various nations there was peace, until the fourth ruler Shrouded attacked, enslaving all other nations, except for two fugitives, Matthew, ruler of Landia, and Damien, the first ruler of Shrouded. Can these two save their nations, or maybe even the world? Chapter 1. There was peace, and then there was not. Shrouded attacked everyone. We didn't know why. Then bloodshed. Shrouded attacked all of the capitals. First, the armor station got bombed. Samuel got invaded, as most of the government officials were forced into slave labor, while the others tried fleeing from their island, but they got shot down or torpedoed, depending on the mode of transport. Next, Shrouded used a land bridge connecting to invade Toop. The advanced Shroudian Air Force and Army would be able to blitzkrieg across the plains and valleys of Toop, while besieging the capital of Mirando. For 4 months after this, they would invade. Tag troops would rush in from the north of the country down towards the capital of Tagarag. They would be able to take the capital against low morale Tag troops. After this, Landia, my country, would be next on the chopping board. We would fight fiercely, but it was no use. They would start to push along Renaud Bay, the bay that separates our two nations. Eventually they would reach Danielson. I remember seeing gunfire in the distance after me and Damien, the first ruler Shrouded, would actually use our bunker for the first times ever. We would see the bomber planes start bombing our great city, a once powerful city. After this, I would climb into the bunker. And once me and Damien got in, I cried. I thought about 20 years ago, when me and the first settlers decided to start a capital, seeing us rejoice after the first children in Danielson were born. I thought about those children who were most likely drafted into the war and were probably now dead. Likely drafted into the war and were probably now dead. I wish I were able to change the past. Somehow make it not available for the current Shroudian leader or to be put into power. I know this is wrong, but I wish I could just kill him before he gained power. It would have saved so many lives, of so many young men, of all of the allied troops. But I can't change anything. So I had to let it go, hoping one day we could regain our independence, avenge the fallen troops, get out of the Shroudian dream, and turn it into the Shroudian nightmare. Now here I am, 1 year later, after we surrendered to the Shroudian menace. Me and Damien are still wanted fugitives and actively hunted down by the Shroudian military. Currently, it is 10 o'clock p.m. and foggy. It is the middle of July, so even the nights are reaching a high of 80 degrees Fahrenheit. But the fog is making it around 60 degrees Fahrenheit, to be exact. I would decide to look at the view outside while eating a late-night bowl of cereal. But after this, I'll have to get milk in the morning. I would look at the dark blue waves of the bay as I would listen to the washing of the water on the sandy beach. I would also see the Transcontinental Bridge, the bridge connecting Danielson to Alrad, the biggest Shroudian city on the southern shores of the bay. I would also notice the new construction of a new government building, as the one we used to have got bombed to oblivion during the Great War. They are building a new one by the bridge, as they say it's strategic. I don't get it, as it could easily be bombed by attacking planes and ships. In case of a rebellion, behind me, I can see the jagged peaks of Danielson Mountains. It is a big mountain range that covers most of the interior from the bay. This mountain range causes a big rain shadow on the western and central parts of Landia, forming the Aladarian Desert. Only the western part that is not part of the desert is southwest. The southwest is mainly plains area covered by bison and tall grass, while the areas surrounding Danielson are temperate rainforests caused by the high elevation of the Danielson Mountains. Though the coasts are mainly a flat area with tons of rainfall, especially in the winter, when the mountains get completely covered in snow, this causes travel to be way harder across Landia because the roads across the mountains get it snowed off. So during the winter, we almost get cut off from the rest of the nation. I would then notice the lights by Soul-Clad Farm. It was a farm made by a Shroudanian immigrant. As I get my milk supplied there by acting as a Shroudanian. I can pull this off because Damien taught me fluent Shroudanian when he was leader of Shroudon 4 years ago, until the hardline dictator came along. At the farm, they would also have some chicken and some pigs there. On the northern side, I would see the big mansion of mountains. It would have big glass windows, looking like it's from the 2020s. It would be resting on the side as some of the houses located inside the mountains. The mansion is a summer home of the government of Landia, but it also serves as a government building until the new government building gets built by the bay. "Hey, Matthew," Damien exclaimed. "Yeah?" I replied curiously. "We should get to bed. It's 11:03 p.m., said Damien. Seeming drowsy, I didn't realize how late it had gotten. With me enjoying the surroundings. "Coming down," I exclaimed. As Damien climbed down the ladder, I could grasp onto my bowl and spoon and put it on a little cubby put near the entrance to the base. I would then get into the ladder area and close a circle, grass-covered base cover. I would then lock the base using some screws with a screwdriver I put into cubby, just as I put the bowl in. After I finished locking the base entrance, I would jump down into the rooms and get to bed. Now, I should probably give you what the base looks like. As we weren't ever planning to use the base, it is pretty small, only around 500 feet squared. So we were only able to fit 4 rooms. The first, as we get in, is the ladder in the bedroom. The floor of this room is made out of a birch, sourced from Tag when they were independent. As they were a northern and cold country, they had large forests of birch and spruce. They were able to make lots of money selling those trees, as the trees are very, very rare outside of Tag. On the other side of the room, from the ladder, we would have Damien's bed, a shelf, and my bed. The beds would both be made of a light birch plank rectangle, with a mattress on top, with a white bed sheet and white pillows. The beds would have a black cotton and silk blanket and a white comforter. In between the beds, there would be a white tiny shelf with a black bare nightlight. On the left side from the ladder, we have a kitchen for a tiny, but we have the essentials for living. We have a gray Samsung fridge with eggs, beef, and pork, an oven, a sink, some shelves with cereal and potato bread, an oven and with top burners, a microwave, and white birch floors. Outside of the kitchen, we have a tiny living room. The only things we have are a couch and a tube television. Below the TV, there is an oak 1970s style counter with a record player in the cubby slot. Now, on the right side of the ladder, we have the bathroom. It is the tiniest of all the rooms. We only have a toilet, a sink, and a mirror with a spruce trim. Matthew, you should seriously get some sleep. It's 11:32 p.m. "All right," I replied while I was trying to sleep. I couldn't stop thinking of rebelling from Shroudania, but I tried putting it in my common sense, and knowing it wouldn't work, that I would die. Eventually, I did drowse off to sleep. Probably around 11:45 p.m. during the night. I was having a really bad nightmare. I saw the dictator Shroudania destroying our people, making all of our citizens into slaves to the Shroudanian world order. I remember trying to free my people from being brainwashed, but the police would handcuff me, throwing me in a jail cell with a lion. I remember feeling so hopeless, so scared. I remember my life flashing right before my eyes. It was at that moment, right before the lion pounced on me, I woke up in a cold sweat. I was so scared, but I couldn't sleep the rest of the night. But morning did come eventually, and I felt surprisingly good for only getting 4 hours sleep last night. "Hey, Matthew," Damien exclaimed. Yes," I replied curiously. "How about I make us an omelet and you get some milk and butter?" "Okay," I replied while sighing. I would walk into the living room and find a shirt to wear. It would be some blue denim jeans and a black I Heart Shroudin t-shirt. I would then go into the bathroom and change. After that, I would put my black and white sneakers on, get my backpack on, and leave for the milk and butter. The closest taxi spot is on DeVere Street. Right before the Great War reached Danielson, I added a manhole tunnel to the DeVere seat from near a base. So I would look for it and go in. I would get the crowbar I put in my backpack to open the manhole cover. The tunnel has a steel ladder and some circular lights on top, and a steel barrier so people can't break in. The tunnel would look like a tunnel you would see in a spy movie or a bank tunnel. During my time as a fugitive, I was able to gain many weapons. The weapons I'm currently bringing with me are a knife, crowbar, handgun, and of course an AK-47. Of course, I mainly use my handgun. After around 10 minutes walking, I would reach the end of a tunnel. I would climb up the ladder. DeVere Street isn't normally busy around this time, so I don't have that much risk of getting caught. When I was finally able to open up the manhole, I realized I was correct. There was not a soul in sight. After I managed to close the manhole and dust myself off, I would walk toward the taxi shop while looking around. This area would look like a standard civilian neighborhood on the likes of an early 90s film. Because of this, I'm guessing this neighborhood is for Shroudanian immigrants who have moved to our city. Yet, before I knew it, I reached the taxi stop, and yet again, there was not a soul in sight. I pressed a big, bright, yellow plastic button, saying, "Presmoto por taquillo," meaning, press for taxi. I pressed the button in 4 minutes. The taxi got here. "Where are you going, sir?" asked the taxi driver. "Soundred Street, please," I replied. "That would be 40 Shrandins," he said in a business voice. Shrandins are the currency. I would pull out money from my backpack, hop into the bright yellow car, and leave for Soundred Street. The car would have orange leather seats and would have large windows. "What are you doing in Soundred Street?" asked the taxi driver curiously. I replied, "Business meetings." As Soundred Street is a major business hub for Danielson and Southeast Landia in general. And soon as I got to Soulclad Street, the taxi driver would then thank me for taking his service. "Welcome," I replied. After walking near the milk farm in the flatlands, my heart dropped. I would start hearing sirens blaring towards me. Not just any sirens. Police sirens. I got caught. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this audiobook. If you would like to support the making of a book, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that way we can support the making of this novel. So that's it for today's video. Bye.